Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised on the Radio. I am on half of this show. I am Colt Brocato, my good friend Patrick Blair in Zoomland as usual. First episode of 2022. We did not record last week. So how are you in 2022, sir?
Happy New Year.
Yeah, absolutely.
2022 means COVID, and I'm really sick of it.
So did 2021.
So did 2020.
And the second half of 2020.
So we're trending in the wrong direction. So 16 family members now have had COVID in the last month, I believe, for me.
Jesus.
Mom and dad and my mother-in-law now found out. 3 people who, to be perfectly honest, bad idea to have COVID. Not good. Just because of underlying health issues. And so we'll see. My dad seems to be getting over it. My mom just found out yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. She has a terrible cough. And when I talked to her, I was like, I gotta let you go. Like, it was just painful for me to listen to. I was just like, wow. I don't even know why you're talking. I don't know why you called me. I get you called me to tell me you're pot, but like, go to bed, do something else. Like, stop using your head in your face. Like, just put that on ice for now.
Did she go like get tested because she was feeling bad, or how did that?
Well, yeah, because my dad tested positive, and then they said they were quarantined from each other, but knowing my parents, it didn't happen.
But that was over a week ago, right? For your dad? Like, he should be over it by now.
Well, I think he found out middle to tail end of last week. So yeah, she knew he was positive, and then, and when she called us to tell us that my dad was positive, she's coughing. Not as bad as she is now. And I'm like, well, that, and she's on the speaker with my wife, and I'm in the kitchen, like cooking or whatever. And I just hear this, I'm like, that sounds awful. I'm like, tell her she does not sound good. And whatever. And then
you were talking about your mom.
Well, fuck, man. I mean, you what are the telltale signs of COVID right now that we know of, right? The symptoms: fever, coughing, the two big ones,
coughing,
right? Fever. Yeah. I think those would be the 2 biggest, right? For the most part. So I'm like, hey,
well, basically all the same things that would happen if you got the flu right now. You see all the comparisons right now to like, what are the signs of the flu? Oh, cool. You have COVID. Nice.
You got your head decapitated in a car accident. You have COVID. But yeah, they're 2 people that can't, it just was a bad idea. I mean, when COVID, when the country was shutting down, they had a trip planned, and they were going to go to Florida. They go to Florida every year for spring training, for Cardinal spring training, and because they're fans apparently. But it is Florida. There's a beach, but it's like March. It's still freezing. Like, no, you just go to watch the games, and they're into it. But whatever. Myself and my sisters, we were like, no, don't do that. Awful idea. Do not get on an airplane right now. Don't go to Florida. Bad idea. And it took some convincing, but as we know now, nothing happens in Florida, right?
True. Do your parents? So that's an every year thing for them, right?
Yeah.
They always go down there.
Yeah.
Do they have like a condo or anything like down there, or they just kind of stay in a hotel? Or?
They do. No, they have a condo.
Nice.
But they don't own it. They, rent it every year. But yeah, they go to as far as I know, I've never gone with them. They've never invited me. Isn't that sweet?
I was gonna say, have you never been to Florida?
I've been to Florida. I've been to Florida plenty of times. Didn't want to go back every time I went, but no, I haven't been to Florida with them for that. And I've been to spring training before. This was a different trip that I went on with 2 buddies.
Your parents hate you, dude.
They really.
Probably because you make comments like. Probably because you make comments like, you sound terrible.
Bro, in times like these, you need to let somebody know, like, hey, you need to pay attention to that. Because if I don't say that, she just brushes it off. Like, my parents have to be bleeding from the ears, eyes, and asshole to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Like, for real. It's so like, they're just that old school type of mentality where like, it'll fix itself. Like, no, it doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. And I hate to be cruel about it, but and we didn't want you to get COVID. That's the whole point. They went to, who knows how they got it? Who knows? Like I said, 16 family members now have had it in the past month. So it's just around. My dude, yesterday, just put my son down for a nap, right? And oh, by the way, we have a third furry family member in our house now. I didn't tell you. Oh yeah,
I seen that.
yeah. Long story short, we adopted or took over the care for a senior citizen dog that another family member had that could no longer take care of it. So
I'm just gonna say respect on that because there's no way I could do that.
it's
Like I get why you would. I don't know what the story is, but I get why you would do that. But
or dog lovers for sure.
Yeah, but like just the knowing that you're gonna get attached and then it's gonna end is pretty rough.
Well, this is a dog that my wife knows because, like I said, it belonged to a family member. So she already has that attachment. So maybe that was the mindset like, well, I'm already attached. So even if this dog did die and it wasn't in my possession or under my care, I'd still be bummed. So,
gotcha.
But we wanted to give it a good time, give her a good time before she goes. It's a little dog. I mean, that's the good thing. But having a dog that, needs this type of care is a task within itself, on top of having a toddler, on top of being by yourself. That's why I was by myself yesterday. My wife was working. So my dogs, my other two dogs that are healthy and still have a bark, start freaking out. I just put them down for a nap. What is this? And I look, there's someone in my driveway, and it's my next door neighbor who just moved. And I'm like, what is that? Okay. So he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. And something like, he's going to ask questions about the house. I don't know what he's going to do. So I open up the door. We're chatting, and he goes, and he hacks. Now we're outside.
Oh,
I didn't invite him in, but he, major hack. And I'm like, I just looked down at the ground. I'm like, fuck. And then like 2 minutes goes by, and he's like, yeah, I the reason I'm keeping my distance from you and have a mask on is I had COVID. And he's like, my wife just found out she has COVID. I'm like, and you felt like stopping by? Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right.
That.
Yeah.
We were outside. I'm not worried about it. We were outside. He had a mask on, whatever. So there's two more. It's just, everyone's got it, dude. I'm over it. I'm done with it. What do we do? You're a doctor. You tell me.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess for one, he shouldn't have come by, but for two, I guess it's good thing that he told you.
Yeah, thanks.
To where you can kind of be on alert for it, I guess.
After he coughed in my mouth. It's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like I do factory work. So I'm not necessarily like we're good enough to where I can be separated from people most of the day.
Yeah.
Like a good distance. But even if I sneeze or something, I'm like trying to find a corner and like sneezing into my arm. And then it's still like the looking around just to see if anybody's like looking at you like, dude, that guy's got Rona.
Yeah.
It's a fear now.
I try and do the same thing when I go to the gym. So I'm still one of the few people that wear a mask at the gym. And I don't care if you think I'm a pussy, if you think I'm weird, I don't care what insults you have. And I see people like, I saw a guy today. I went at 5 a.m. today on a Sunday. Nobody there. I'm one of 12 people, which is great. I would love it if it was like that every day. But I walked by this guy, and he kind of did one of the head shakes, right? And I was just like, and I don't know if it was at me. I'm a paranoid piece of shit. So it might not have had anything to do with me, but he did that. And then I kind of just thought, oh, come on, man. Really? Like, yeah, I'm wearing a mask. I don't trust any of you people. That's been the biggest problem. We have to rely on other people during these times, and people just aren't reliable. You can't depend on other people when it comes to your health, your safety, anything. So I wear a mask at the gym because people are just like, here's the thing. And I've said this a million times on this podcast. I like my space in general. Yeah. Forget about COVID. Before COVID, I want my space. Don't be up in my face. And dude, people are just like in each other's faces and it's a crowded gym. So, but my point bringing this up was like, when I want to sip of water, like I kind of like find a corner to go into, like, all right, this looks okay. And I'll take a quick sip, put my mask back up. And I know, again, some people might think that's crazy. Fine. I'm doing it to just put myself at ease, I guess. I don't even know. Yeah. Or it could be the child that I have living at home with me who cannot get vaccinated. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I've been going to the gym here lately before work. So that puts me at the gym somewhere between 3:30 and 4:30, depending on when I got to go into work. So it's pretty empty, but I don't wear a mask, but I am the guy that wipes down any benches that I use in any machines that I use before and after.
You should do that, even if COVID never existed.
Well, yeah, I know that. But I'm saying that I am like there are a lot of people that don't do that.
Yeah, and I hate those people. Those people need to be burned. Burned. It's gross. I was actually, what's funny? You asked me about my buddy Jason. The same day that you asked me about him, I saw him at the grocery store that night.
Oh, nice.
Which was totally odd because I've never run into him there, even though we live kind of close to each other. I just thought it was funny. But I was texting him the day after. We just got into talking about, he's a personal trainer, as you know, but we just got talking about the gym via text because I was at the gym and I just like, and I just made the joke and he knew what I was talking about. But like, what type of whey protein you got in there, bro? What flavor you got in there, bro? Because people carrying their bags around. But there are a few people, and we totally got off topic of what we initially wanted to talk about, but COVID will do it to you. But there are a few guys who will get insanely sweaty, and that's good. That's why you go there. However, I got, and this is a public service announcement to anyone who does this. If you choose to get so sweaty that it looks like you just got out of the pool, wear more clothes. Don't wear a tank top that only covers your nipples. Don't wear shorts that only cover your ball sack. It's disgusting. Wear more clothes. And if you don't wear more clothes, wipe shit down better. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm scared of more than COVID is staph.
Yeah.
That's why you wipe shit down. Not because of COVID, because of ringworm and staph, which is really easy to catch at a public gym, at a commercial gym. Have you ever had ringworm before?
I've seen it. I've never had it.
Consider yourself lucky. It's disgusting. It's gross. It'll make you feel like scum of the earth.
Have you gotten it?
Yeah.
Was it from wrestling?
Yeah.
That's what I figured. It's a big thing in wrestling.
Yeah, it's common. It's almost like no matter what you do, you're still gonna. But we would. I mean, if there was a dude that wouldn't, because it's high school. I get it. You're young. You don't want to shower with other dudes. You're whatever. It's different with sports. You have to, especially wrestling. You got to clean yourself. You'll get somebody sick. So if there were dudes who would like bolt out of there and not shower, we would call them out. We would call them out. Like, whoa, where are you going? Where are you going? No. And if they would just like ignore, there would be like an upperclassman who would go grab the person. Like, no, you have to shower. It's a rule. It's not a request. Just no one cares about your dick, bro. Get in the shower, scrub that thing off. None of us want ringworm, but no matter how much you do that and how careful you are, I mean, bleaching the mats, dude, like you would walk in every day and the smell of bleach would just, you'd get knocked out. That still isn't enough. Like, it's so hard to avoid because we're humans and we're gross. So please, if you're going to get sweaty at the gym, wipe shit down.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Have you ever like walked up to a machine and seen that you can't tell if that's sweat or if that's somebody just wiped the machine down?
I never asked the question because I wipe it down anyway. I wipe before and after, like you said. Yeah, I wipe before and after, like you said. The other thing too is, I try to like pay attention, and I pay attention to who's using this stuff. If it's one of those sweaty dudes, I'm not using it after you, no matter how much forget it.
Right.
I'm not. Looks like I'm not using that thing today, whatever it is. So.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. Which sucks that you have to be paranoid enough to be watching other people to see what they're using to see if you can use that next or not.
Yeah, I sound like a psychotic stalker when I creep when I say that, but loosely. Dude, the guy, and by the way, these guys that I'm talking about that get this sweaty, they're also grunters. And listen, I've worked out with power lifters. I understand the effects of grunting. I know why people do it. This is a commercial gym. It's not a powerlifting gym. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. None of the girls here care. None of the guys here care. It's doing nothing for anything, just stop. So you can pick those guys out rather easily.
Yeah.
You don't even have to really pay attention. You can hear them over your music.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about that.
Well, no, it's
So-
funny. It's funny because I just started going back to the gym in the mornings, and there's this guy there. I mean, he's a big guy. But he used to go in the evenings, and the first day I was in there, and he was in there, and he's like, "You used to come here in the evenings, right?" And probably going to be in the mornings, from now on. And he was like, "Oh, well, it's a good crowd in here. It's not very many people." And he said, except for that one guy that was just here that just left, and that's all he said. And I knew who he was talking about. It's this guy who's like a CrossFit guy, and he's not that big, and he's just grunting all on everything that he does. And like as soon as he gets done with something, like doing a set of something, he's looking around to see who's watching him and stuff. And so then I overheard him having a conversation with somebody else about that guy, and he's just saying, "Dude, you're not that big. Dude, just calm down. Everything's fine." Everybody doesn't need to know what you're doing and how you're doing it.
See, but that's the thing. That's like the general metric that we all have for someone like that is how big are they? That's what we say. It's not how strong are they, how hard are they working.
That's true.
I grunt sometimes if I'm doing something that I know is going to be difficult. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard for me to do. I'm also not a spring chicken anymore. Like it's not as easy for me to do some things. So like, but I don't do it so loud that everyone in the gym can hear it. But that's our metric, which it's a warped way of thinking. Like you're not that big, instead of like, oh, he's trying to get bigger, he's working hard or whatever. Like we're all a bunch of tools. Anyway.
Dude, I had a buddy of mine who used to lift at my gym a long time ago. He's got some things wrong, I think, because of the way he lifts. He is one of those people that like needs to be degraded, I think, to be motivated. So like while he'd be like doing dumbbell bench press and calling himself a pussy and yelling at himself and everything while he's lifting, I'm like, dude. I mean, I would never say anything to him because the guy's huge and like it has a lot of training.
Oh God.
But still.
Well, listen, as someone who passionately practices self-hatred, I find that to be gross. That's too much. It's too much. You got to tighten up on that, man. That's disgusting. Wait, he wants someone else to call him a pussy, or he just calls himself a pussy?
No, he just calls himself a pussy. So I think
out loud for people to hear.
Oh yeah. He's got in trouble several times by management and stuff for doing that. That's awful. And it was mainly because it was like in the mornings around times where like older women are coming in and doing classes and stuff like that, and he's over there in the corner.
Dude, I'm telling you, and that may be something, and obviously that's like a crossed wires in his own brain, but also we do that to him. We as the society and we as a general public do that to people like that. We tell them they have to be bigger, they have to be better looking, they have to, all that shit, it can fuck with your head,
Yeah, I mean, you have to know what to do with the information. Like you can use it as motivation, which is a good thing.
Sure.
But if it turns into like self-hatred because you don't think you can become what society thinks you should be, then it's an issue.
Well, don't let other people know that it's motivating you, I guess.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not announce it to the world. Let it motivate you, but keep it inside. Or just let it out with a grunt. That's my wife will call me a hypocrite right now so hard. But anyway.
I already can't figure out, is this the title of this going to be passionately, what did you say? Passionately practicing self-hatred.
Yeah. That's a good title. That sounds like a good one. I think it's settled.
Dang it. Now I fumbled through that. What did you just say?
I think I said I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, let it out through a grunt. I like that too.
Let it out with a grunt through a grunt, whatever it was. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because you brought up something outside the show, and I have a question for you. Okay. Do you think that Kurt Warner is a guy who let other people motivate him, or do you think he motivated himself? Because as you know, he's sort of a rags to riches, kind of an underdog story, right?
Mm-hmm.
went from, we all know the story by now, or anyone who's watched a glimpse of any football in the past 30 years, we know that he was a grocery bagger, didn't have a job in football, wanted to play professional football, and then became a Hall of Famer. So do you think he practiced self-hatred and motivated himself, or do you think it was the hatred of others, like his coach Dick Vermeil, aka Dennis Quaid, aka Hollywood? Do you think the Hollywood motivation motivated him to become this success story? Because he is an American underdog.
Okay, so
go ahead and review that bullshit movie. Yes, please.
I watched American Underdog yesterday, and first off, you're gonna absolutely hate it.
I'm not gonna watch it.
I knew going in.
It looks terrible.
But if you were to watch it, you would absolutely hate it. So
now, tell me why.
I didn't go into it with high hopes.
Hold on. Why would I hate
because it? Because it. Okay, without giving anything away in the movie for anybody who's listening, 3/4 of the movie is
about
him and Brenda. No, it's not. It's 3/4 of the movie is him and Brenda getting together, and that storyline.
Oh my god!
And then with a little bit of college football thrown in, and then the last quarter of the movie is about his NFL career.
Oh my god!
Which they sped through extremely fast.
Okay, that's awful.
So there's that, which sucks. So I didn't go into it with high expectations because I figured it was going to be really Hollywooded up. I mean, it kind of was. But at the beginning of it, they do show that Brenda and Kurt were both executive producers on the movie. So it gave me like a little bit of hope that maybe, since if they're really that involved in the movie, that at least the storyline is true, leading up to it. But I don't know. It was okay. It was decent for what it was, but it would not be up your alley. I mean, it's a cool, if the story is true from beginning to end, it's pretty cool. And they don't shine Dick Vermeil in a bad light like they do in the movie or in the trailer.
Dennis Quaid does that all by himself.
Yeah, but you know what? Dennis Quaid's only in the movie for maybe 10 minutes at the most.
Why is he in the previews then?
I don't know. The funny thing is that, so like the previews show that Dick Vermeil is kind of a dick to him, like making him explain himself or like say why he is, why he's ready to do this or whatever. And he's not even the one that does that in the movie. It's Mike Martz.
My God, what a terrible
movie.
I
forgot that guy existed. I'm not going to lie.
I totally forgot about Mike Martz. Wow. Yeah, I forgot.
As soon as he popped up, the guy popped up, I'm like, whoa, that's weird. But the one cool thing that I did like in the movie was that they did add in actual footage and mix it in with some of the acting, which was kind of cool.
Well, if you say so. It looks so. I'm never gonna see it. The previews are just. The previews do enough for me to go. I'm never gonna watch that.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, so I'm gonna give this. It's a small part away, so kind of a spoiler alert, but it's something I didn't know. Do you know anything about Brenda, like her past or her kids or anything? Here's why I say this, because you're gonna be like, probably gonna be like, holy shit. So I don't know if the guy's name is real that they used, but they talk about she's got 2 kids in the movie. One of them is legally blind.
Okay.
And which I didn't know anything about that. Well, they tell the story about what happened. And it was her ex that she was with before Kurt dropped her kid on his head in the bathtub and didn't tell anybody for over 24 hours. So when they got him to the hospital, he was like, he had brain bleeding and brain swelling and stuff. And like, they didn't think he was ever going to walk again. They didn't think he was ever going to talk again or anything like that. And he was legally blind and stuff. And I was like, it was just weird that they like showed her ex in a like a bad light like that. It was weird. I don't know. I mean, I assume that's a real thing.
Yeah, man. And you just ruined everything I had to say about it, because now I don't want to say anything bad about it. I feel like shit now. What the fuck? If it is true, I can't say. I'm going to do it anyway. Well, that's terrible. Don't see why it had to be in the movie. It's not Kurt's kid. You said it's with the X. So why isn't it?
It was. Yeah.
I don't care why, but that's the thing. You said it's about Kurt. Does anyone care about Brenda Warner enough that a movie needs to be made about her life?
I don't know. I guess not. And I mean, really, like a lot of the movie is about her life.
Oh my God, I care even less now.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but I don't care.
Yeah.
So you said it. They have. Well, like, this is the thing. With these sports movies, there has to be these Hollywood elements that happen to keep people involved.
Right.
And I think we've talked about it on the podcast, but there have been so many movies like about true stories, especially when it comes to athletes. Like if you live through it and you remember, like I do, you go, well, that didn't happen. Why the fuck would they do? Why would they do that?
Right.
And there are some really like shining examples. One is the Fighter, the movie The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg, which I love. I love that movie. It's such a great movie. But the way that they explain his path to the title shot and who he fought and when and how he won the title, completely wrong.
Well,
when compared to actual history, like, is wrong.
So who was that? I forgot who was that movie talking
Mickey
about?
Ward.
The Fighter?
Mickey Ward.
Okay. So, I mean, Mickey Ward probably wasn't involved in that movie, was he?
No, he was. He was.
Oh, he was?
Oh, yeah. They show him and his brother, Dickie, at the end of the movie talking. They were I don't know if they were like involved in the making of it necessarily, like artistically speaking or creatively speaking, but that's what I was talking about. Yeah. Yeah. No. They knew. So well, like even, that whole thing is like confusing a little bit.
What's the other movie with with Scott Carell? He was the coach. Yes, The Foxcatcher. Same way.
Completely wrong.
They
rewrote history.
Gay and all of the
And I would say this to anyone I would say this to anyone who's watched that movie and been like, oh, this is a good movie. What you need to do is you need to go watch the 30 for 30 that was made about the Schultz brothers and about John DuPont. You need to watch that because it tells the story and you're going to go, whoa. And like people that were there, not biographical. Someone else isn't telling the story. Like people that were actually there and lived through this whole situation. And you're going to go, whoa, that movie was way off. Yeah. Still a good movie. I think the acting in it is fantastic, which that's the thing about American Underdog. It's why I'm never going to see it. You and I lived through Kurt Warner. We remember it wasn't that long ago. What acting choice did Zach Levi make? What is this weird sort of like menacing stare he does in the previews? It's like Kurt Warner never did that. What is that? Yeah. That whole like stoic, like I'm determined look, like nothing can break me, the whole thing. The Kurt Warner that we know and that we saw on the field, with a few exceptions, obviously, because it's football and it's competition. So obviously you're going to see a guy upset or whatever, but like he was a smiley faced, like lovable guy. Yeah. That was all about his faith and all about his fame. He wasn't this like, I don't know. Zach Levi just is a terrible actor. And I don't even know what else he's been in. I know he was Chuck. I don't know. He was Shazam too. I've never seen that, but to me, it's
Shazam. That's the only, and I actually just found out about that last night. I didn't know what I don't think I'd ever seen him before.
Well, to me, it's just bad acting, but what do I know? I'm never going to see that terrible movie. Ugh. You know what else? And now that I think about it, and I can't let me think about it. The movie Moneyball. Something happens in that. It's inaccurate. I think it's the trade of Jeremy Giambi in that movie. The way it happens in the movie is not the way it happened actually. Like the whole, these things happen. These movies are made and they have to like change things for dramatic effect or whatever the case may be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But, because a lot of people, well, look, what do you think the demo is for a PG rated football movie? Kids, families. It's a family movie.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So they're not going to remember the history of the sport and the history of the guy, the history of the team. Guys like myself, when I watch a movie like The Fighter or I watch Moneyball, I go, well, wait a minute. That wasn't that long ago. I remember that. That didn't happen. Like immediately, I'm a sports jerk off. So I immediately go, oh, wait, that didn't happen like that. Like I know right away. but those, I don't think those
Yeah.
movies are made for me. I don't know what movies made for me. Gesundheit.
Yeah. Thank you. So, like Moneyball, it's funny that you brought that up, because it's been popping up on Netflix lately, and
Such a good movie.
this might shift the conversation a little bit. And it is a very good movie. However, why is it like all of a sudden a popular movie on Netflix? Do you ever like look at the algorithm, like the
You've asked this
how
before.
how I know, but like, have I asked this question before? Like, how does things
know.
become popular? Or why is a random Adam Sandler movie from 1994 a top 10 in America right now? I don't understand how that works.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Adam Sandler's got
And
a
maybe
new
I'm the only
Netflix
one that
movie coming
is
out.
weirded out by well, see, that's what I thought too. But like Moneyball, it's popping up. What's the reasoning for that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't explain it. Yeah, I can't explain algorithms, man. We've had like all too often. I can't explain it to you. I don't know. I don't think anyone does except the people there. The people that make these decisions, and I don't know. I would love to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's a good movie though. I'm okay with it. I mean, so it's funny you say that. So have you seen the movie Yesterday?
No.
I don't know if we talked about it on the show before, but so it's about a guy. He's a struggling musician. Takes place in England. He's a struggling musician. He's good. Like you can tell that he's like a talented guy, but he just hasn't caught that big break. And he's kind of just like fed up. He's just like, he's on the verge of like giving up. Okay. And essentially he does. He has this like manager who he's also friends with, a woman, and they have this conversation where he's like, I think it's just my time is done. Like I'm never going to catch that big break. And she's kind of talking about like, well, you do it because you're good at it and you love it. And he's like, yeah, but no one cares, whatever. And so then on the way home from that conversation, he gets hit by a bus. Like the power goes out in the entire city. He gets hit by a bus. And then when he wakes up in the hospital, the power goes back on. He wakes up in the hospital. Everyone on Earth has forgotten that the Beatles ever existed.
Oh, that movie. Okay.
So what he does is he basically just takes all of the Beatles songs, makes him his own, and now he's going to be this big pop star. Right? There's so many things. Like, and you hear that story, you go, oh, that's fun, fine, whatever. But there are so many things about the movie that as a musician just fucking drive me insane. That it's like, why do I do this to myself? Because like every time I watch it, like the first half of it, or like the middle part of it, I like because it's the process of him like remembering these songs and then recording them. And he records all of the like poppy, upbeat, I Want to Hold Your Hand, songs like that. Like, God, these songs are really good. Like when you hear them again today, as done by someone else for the purpose of a movie, and like when you think about like, oh, no one ever knew these existed. Would these songs really work today? That whole thing. And this is the way my stupid brain works. You kind of go, oh, wow, I appreciate these songs even more now. They're good songs. And that's the Beatles that I like. Like I'm not a Beatles fanatic like everyone else. Like I like the early poppy Beatles, the hippie drug stuff, whatever. Don't care about it. There are so many things that happen in that movie that just drive me absolutely insane. I'll give you two. And I don't know why you talking about Moneyball and the algorithm made me think of this. Maybe it's just because Yesterday came up on Hulu, maybe, or whatever.
Okay.
So one of the situations is, so he gets discovered by Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran sees him on like a local British television show. Ed Sheeran shows up to his house and basically asks him, do you want to go on tour with me? Like now, right? Here's his songs, loves them so much. He's like, you want to go on tour with me now? So he goes. Now, no one knows that he's ripping off the Beatles, right? So the first show he does is in Moscow. So he does Back to the USSR. I believe that's the title of the song that the Beatles had. So he does that, and they all think like, you wrote that on the plane? Like you're a genius, right? So Ed Sheeran has this bright idea to be like, hey, let's have a songwriting competition right now and see who's the better songwriter. Totally gross to me. Like it just bothered me so much. I was like, all right, man, I'm going to sit through this and I'm going to be mad at myself, but I'm going to do it anyway. Why do I do this to myself? So they get done, and he, I don't remember what Beatles song he did, but everyone's like blown away. And so like they're like going to have the vote. And Ed Sheeran goes, no voting. Like, he's like, and he goes, people always told me at some point in time in my life, there would be someone who's better than me. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, it's music. Like, come on. That it's just such a gross interpretation of what music should be or is about, or it's just gross. It not only is it a gross interpretation, but it's an exaggeration as well. It's like, what are we doing? And then there's another, Kate McKinnon. I don't know if she's on Saturday Night Live anymore. She plays Justin Bieber on Saturday Night Live a lot when they do like the Celebrity Jeopardy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So she plays Ed Sheeran's manager. She's this big music industry person. She's loaded with money. She's got the attitude. And again, it's like Zach Levi with Kurt Warner. It's like her acting choice to play this like sort of like villainous, gross, greedy corporate music person. It is so over the top and so off-putting. It made me stop watching. I don't know how that movie ends. I don't have any idea. Because after her, like, she invites him to her beach house, like, welcome to my humble beach abode. Like, that's how she talks, like, does this with her hands and like talks like this, like, really. I'm like, who are you? You're a Martian. This isn't real life. And I get it. It's a movie, but fuck. And then so like she does this thing where she's asking all of these, like, she's also very shitty to him. She's like, not very good. Like, he walks up to her and she goes, not very good looking, huh? I'm like, bitch, you've already met him. No need to say that again. Like, it's just such an exaggeration of how shitty people can be. Maybe not. But she's like, not that good looking. She's like, yeah, somehow you're skinny, but still round. And the guy, I don't know the guy's name, the lead character. He's funny and he's a good actor, and I like him in this movie. So maybe I should finish it just for him, because he is really good. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really him singing. He's actually really good. But she does that, and then she does this whole like exaggerated thing about so you want to become the biggest star in the world. And he's like, pauses. She goes, no, the answer is yes. It's yes. I'm like, what is that? Like, it's just like, who treats people like that? We all know, like, we've heard millions and millions of stories of how gross the music industry is, or Hollywood is, or the sports world is, and all these greedy people, like, but like, who talks to people like that? I mean, seriously.
Well, I mean, with as many movies that are out there that have people in those movies like that talk like that to people, you have to think that, I don't know, like, not that they feel entitled, but like, once they're in a position like that for long enough, like, they just, whatever they think comes out. Like, it's got to be more often than not. Unless just all the Hollywood movies are exaggerated like that. I don't know.
No, you're being realistic about it, and I'm not, and I appreciate you for that. I just want to hate everything, so I just didn't want to finish that movie. It bugged me so much. I don't know. I'll go back and finish it just for your sake, and then maybe she redeems herself. I can't imagine she does. Yeah, I don't know. How do we get on that? Oh, the algorithm. Yeah, I don't know how the algorithm works, man. I don't. But I don't want to talk about Spotify right now, but I do want to talk about streaming in music. So did I send to you the tweet that T-Pain put out? Also, by the way, we talk about T-Pain a lot on the show. Did you notice that? I feel like this is the fourth time we've mentioned him, which I feel like is an excessive amount, considering, I don't know.
I mean, that's not bad. We're almost at like 100 episodes, right? That's good point. 4 times for T-Pain. That's not
now
too
we need
bad,
to talk
right?
about him more, is what you're saying. Okay.
Is that more than the average podcast that talks about T-Pain?
I don't know. I can't imagine they talk about him that much. He has a podcast?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
It's actually really good. I would.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I do remember. I talked about T-Pain with the whole Lil Dicky thing, didn't I? Like him doing his music video on the back of T-Pain's music video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But he tweeted he tweeted something, and the reaction to it surprisingly was negative. But he basically tweeted an image of how many streams an artist has to have on all of the major platforms to make $1. Okay. So the backlash came with people were like, well, that's easy for you to say, you're T-Pain, you know, it doesn't matter to you. And he's like, and they were like, if it bothers you so much, well, why don't you just protest Spotify or protest streaming and not put your music on any of these streaming services? Which, when you say it the first time you say it, is a great idea. But there are always going to be people like me who will try to reap the benefits of T-Pain and Adele and Machine Gun Kelly and Olivia Rodrigo and all of these major artists not being on streaming services. People like me will go, oh, wait, well, they're not on there. So then people will just listen to me. So just stream my music, right? So that idea will never work. And no one cares if a person like me bitches and protests Spotify. As much as I complain about it, no one cares.
Right.
If I go, I'm taking a stand today, Colt, ripping my music off Spotify, people are going to go, silence. That was my point. There will be nothing. No one will care.
Well, you also have to be, which I guess T-Pain probably would be fine, but you also have to be big enough where that money stream, whatever you are getting, doesn't matter.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like Spotify money doesn't matter to you because you have other money from somewhere else.
But it opens your eyes just to how backwards and dare I say it again, borderline criminal it is. You know, some of the tweets he was getting, they were just like, how the fuck is that even legal? Well, it is very legal. But like, his whole point was that it gives you an idea of how much work an independent artist who's not T-Pain has to put in and how much they have to do to really make a living. Now, again, I would venture to say that a lot of independent artists aren't relying on streaming necessarily to make their living. But so the numbers are interesting. But
is he the first one to come out and do this?
No, there's been people in the past, but it's T-Pain. And also you don't see a lot of people from the hip hop community and the pop community, because he's both. You don't see a lot of people from those two communities really taking a stand and really like being non-company or non-industry. Yeah. It typically happens in the indie world or the rock world or metal world or whatever. Because by nature, you know, punk rock, metal, they're anti-corporate, anti-establishment types of music. Some in some ways, anyway. Not all. Do you think Green Day gives a fuck? No, they started as punk, but like, not everyone's going to reach the level of a Green Day, so they care a little bit more about this stuff. But I from those two, from pop and hip hop, I can't think of any off the top of my head. But the numbers are not interesting. But what I thought was interesting is that he included everyone, which is kind of weird because I didn't know that Napster still exists, but people still use Napster apparently.
Who bought Napster?
I don't know. Maybe it says in this article. I don't know.
Justin Timberlake buy Napster at one point?
No, he bought MySpace.
Oh, I thought somebody bought Napster, but I didn't know it was still a thing.
So on Napster, it takes 53 streams to make $1. Actually, that's the least amount of any of the streaming services. But again, who the fuck uses Napster?
Right.
Amazon Music, 249 streams to make $1. Apple Music, 128 streams to make $1. Tidal Music, 78 streams to make $1. Titles that Jay-Z, somebody,
right, yeah.
Jay-Z and somebody else. Again, I don't know anyone. I don't know a single person that uses Tidal. Do you?
Right.
Deezer, again, another one. Don't know. And I actually get emails like someone streamed your song on Deezer. I'm like, where the fuck? Where are they located? I don't even know what Deezer is. I've never seen it. I've never used it. I don't even know what it is. Deezer, 156 streams to make $1. Again.
So now you have different people that push your music out to different avenues like that, right?
What do you mean?
You're not just doing that on your own, right? Where like getting your music out on streaming platforms and stuff like that, you have someone doing that for you, right?
Well, it's not someone, it's a distribution company. It goes through a distributor and it goes to
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're getting you on Deezer.
Yeah, it's on everything. It's on all the things that I've said so
you don't get like a breakdown that shows like where like what platforms
I don't look at it.
Music is on and all that. No.
I mean, I look at it like if I feel like withdrawing the thousands and thousands of dollars that I'm making on streaming, then I know.
That's just on Deezer.
So Deezer, 156 streams to make $1. So these two are going to really make you shit your pants. Pandora, to make $1, you need 752 streams. YouTube Music, to make $1, you need 1,250 streams. Insane. And as you know, we've talked about Spotify and what it pays out. So Spotify pays artists 0.0032 per stream. So it's roughly a little over 300 streams to make $1. Apple Music, we talked about already. So it's, again, it just raises the question, like, is it fair? And that's the easy way out, is asking, is it fair? Of course it's fair. You don't sign a contract, but you know what's happening when you put your music on these.
So here's a question I don't think I've ever asked. So like Spotify, of course, has all the money, but if they were to increase the amount, either make it like lower the amount of streams you have to get to make $1, or I guess that would be the same thing as raising the price they pay out, whatever. Is there a way they can do that? Because I mean, you're talking about millions and millions of artists that are on there with millions and billions and trillions of streams. Is there a way for them to still do it and not go under? Like that would be fair, like for an artist to think that this is a fair amount of money that I get paid for my streams with as many artists and musicians that are on Spotify. Is there a way for them to increase and still not go under?
Sure. Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, of course. There's always a way. And that's one of the things that someone tweeted back at T-Pain. They're like, well, if you don't, and again, I like this person's point, and it made me think. It really did. It made me stop and think. And they were like, if you don't like it so much, start your own streaming service that pays artists better. Fair point. Kind of a dick way of saying it.
Is this what Jay-Z was doing by starting Tidal?
Well, clearly not. It doesn't pay out that well. Even still. What did I say Tidal was? Tidal's
good point.
Tidal Music, 78 streams to make $1. So they pay out 0.0099 per stream.
Okay.
It's still terrible. That's awful.
Yeah.
It's when you're getting fractions of a penny for someone to listen to your music, I'm sorry, it's just wrong. To me, it's wrong.
What would be just coming up with a random number? What would be a number that you think is good for, like, if for you to put music out and for you to make $1, how many streams should you get to make $1?
1 stream.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, if that was the case, Spotify would go under.
I'm joking, obviously.
Like, think about Nickelback, how many streams they get. And if they were getting $1 per stream, they would just retire in 3 months.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I know
you're being
exaggerated. Music is more accessible now. That's what this all did. That's why. And look, I understand that at the time, purists were like, can't believe they're doing this, but I understand why Metallica spoke out against Napster. It's because of this. This is what, and I don't know if Lars thought of this on his own. He's an intelligent guy. I don't know if in the moment he was I think he was thinking emotionally, and I think he had other people going, hey. But I think at the time, he saw this coming. Someone saw this coming, and they said, dude, this is not good. Like, this is potentially what it could be. Now, obviously, we're talking, how long ago was that? I don't even know. Over 20 years. I don't even remember what year that was, but what year are we in? 2020? Whatever. Anyway, so it's become so advanced now, and there are so many different ways to stream music. I mean, you gotta think of it this way too. Like the distributor that I talked about. Not only does it put it on these streaming services where the intent is to listen to music, okay? But also, let's say you want to post something and you want to put music to it. So you want to post an Instagram story, or you want to go on TikTok and post a 3-minute long video. You can put my music to it, It's available. It's there. That's all through that same distributor. Now, I don't think you get anything for that.
How is there not like copyright on that?
There is, if you do it through the distributor. So again, it goes through the distributor and it gets put on all of these services so that your music is accessible to essentially everyone on every platform, every social media space, so on and so forth.
Right, but how is that any different from me like taking say Nickelback again? What is the, how is that any different from me taking a Nickelback song and putting it on our YouTube video?
It is different. Here's
Like
why.
we would get sued for that.
Possibly. If anyone found out, we could probably get away with it for a while. Honestly,
I don't know. YouTube's pretty strict when you post videos, though, I think, right?
well, the same thing goes for those social media services. Now they all have they have different types of guidelines. Like I know TikTok's is different. So here's how I know that. So like for instance, I just put out a music video. So I wanted to post a clip of a music video on TikTok, excuse me. And here's what I had to do. I had to sync up the video with with my music on TikTok, meaning I had to mute the music that was in the video already, the original sound, and I had to add TikTok sound to the video. If I don't, I break their copyright rules, basically because I didn't get permission from the artist, even though I'm the artist.
Weird.
I didn't get permission from the artist to use their content on my video.
So same music, but it's not yours, it's theirs. And that's in the agreement. That's crazy.
Yeah. You can get away with it.
It makes sense in a way, though, because somebody's getting paid if you use their content.
Yeah. I've gotten away with it on Instagram, though. Like I've done it, but I've not, I've just used it and nothing happened. So again, the guidelines are different there. Believe me, you and I have had issues with Instagram in the past with posting videos along with TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Guidelines are the guidelines, the ones that they put out there for you to read, like in the moment, there's fine print that they're not giving you that, they could say whatever they want. They can get away with whatever they want. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean,
and what are you and I going to say? We're going to sue you. Yeah. Good luck. But, I don't know. Again, for an artist like T-Pain to come out and say this, I think it's impactful, but
well, it is. But like I said, I was asking why nobody's done this before now. I mean, we've been
I'm sure people have.
This.
Well, I talked about,
but not actually coming out and giving a visual to people on what the actual stream numbers are.
No, people have. I talked about it before, I think, but Steven Tyler was a part of a group who was suing. Steven Tyler and Smokey Robinson, I know, were two people that were mentioned, but they were part of this group that was suing Spotify, maybe, because the payouts are just ridiculous. They kind of they used Smokey Robinson as the example, and they broke down what Smokey Robinson fairly, if we're talking about being fair, should have been paid from his streams, and it was way more than what he actually was paid out. Let me see if I can find that. But so yeah, I think people have done it before, but you gotta understand too, T-Pain is still, because I remember Steven Tyler talked about it on Rogan's podcast. So one of the first things that comes up if you Google Steven Tyler against Spotify is his clip on Rogan saying that, Spotify doesn't pay, which again, we all know now. So it's kind of a stale point.
It is. It's just funny because it's like everyone knows, but nobody's pulling their music off.
No,
because it's still a revenue stream, whether it's the amount they think they should be getting or not.
Well, they're not pulling it off, but again, if they pull it, and again, I think we mentioned this the last time we talked about Spotify. There are artists who do their own thing, and I'm using air quotes there because I think it's a loose sort of idea. But Garth Brooks, again, when you can only get his music on Amazon. Now, I don't know if that's still the case. I'm not a Garth Brooks fan. I've never searched for his music, but I know that was a thing. I don't know if he still does that. So there are people that do that.
You have to have a name, like a massive name, to be able to do something like that.
Of course.
Or does he did he, sign kind of like a deal like Rogan did with Spotify? Did Garth Brooks sign a deal like that with Amazon where he got a shitload of money?
I can't imagine that he wouldn't sign a deal like that.
Yeah.
Where I don't think it's strictly just a streaming percentage. Yeah, there had to have been some upfront sort of number that he received because of that, because he's Garth Brooks.
Right, dude.
It's bringing a large portion of country music fans solely to Amazon, right?
Yeah, right.
Was it Amazon? It was Amazon. I'm pretty sure. Google
I think so.
Google, it might have been Google Music because of the
maybe
G.
Maybe it was Deezer. You think he's on Deezer?
I don't think it was. I don't think it was. People have spoken out against it before. But again, that video, I don't even know it would do us any justice now, even playing that video, because that's from 2018. How much has happened with Spotify since 2018? I mean, astronomical changes, extremely, completely significant things have happened. And I think when Steven Tyler said it in 2018, I don't think it was anything new to people or to people that were paying attention. But again, it's a big guy. He's a legendary artist speaking out against it. But with T-Pain, I just feel like he's relevant today. And he didn't go on a podcast and do it. It was just a tweet. So it was like, how like our attention spans are and just how quick that was. So like that tweet garnered so much attention because it could be here and gone before anyone really could, before anyone of with a purpose could see it. You know what I'm saying? Now it went viral and it's become news, but I think the news has shifted upon the backlash and less upon what he actually said.
Right. Am I right that when Rogan signed with Spotify, that they made him, they didn't bring all of his episodes over, right? Didn't they only limit to a certain amount?
Well, as you know, Joe and I are best friends, so I know all about his business.
Well, no, I thought that was
a
thing. Like when he signed, I think there was a lot of episodes that they didn't, like Spotify didn't want on their platform. I don't know if it was based off of the content that was in them or what else, but I'm curious, like with Steven Tyler, did they let him keep the Steven Tyler episode up, even though part of it was speaking out against Spotify?
It's a great question. I don't know if it was one of the ones that, and they did cut episodes. They did not include some. I think a lot of the ones they did not include were those episodes with conservative folks, such as Alex Jones, Gavin McInnes, people like that. Gotcha. Because Spotify is a fairly, as we've seen, progressive company. So I know they cut those. I don't know about Steven Tyler. That's a great question. I don't know. But, it does make you wonder, will we see more folks of T-Pain's level of success start speaking out? I would say no. But
well, I mean, I think Spotify knows what they've got. And I think, and they know that, okay, if you want to pull your music from our streaming service, that's less money we have to pay out. And basically you'll be back kind of scenario, because they have the upper hand in the scenario. Unless you have massive artists who come together as a collective and go and try to sue. But I don't know if they can sue, because all the fine print shows exactly what they signed up for when they signed up with Spotify.
Yeah, I don't think they foresee any situation where there would be enough artists that could make a wave or some sort of impact negatively towards Spotify. I don't think Spotify's worried about that threat by any means. I don't even think it's on their radar.
Right.
Because again, that's just sort of the simple way of looking at things, like, oh, well, fine, just take your music off, protest Spotify. Again, that's sort of the simple way of approaching the idea. There has to be something else. It's one thing to take your music off Spotify, but what's the alternative? We know records aren't selling.
Right.
So what's the alternative? There has to be something else that gives you that leverage against Spotify, and there isn't. Speaking of record sales, I'm glad we landed here, because I wanted to bring this up. So I saw something interesting yesterday. about record sales, and I wanted to bring it up with you. So,
Okay.
the best-selling rock albums in 2021. I'm going to give you a few guesses as to who you think had the best-selling rock albums in 2021.
Well, okay. Before I answer this question, did you make a tweet about this? Because I
So you've
think I've
already,
seen it.
damn it, you've already seen it. Do you remember?
Yeah. It was Machine Gun Kelly, right?
He was number 3.
Number 3.
856,000 records in 2021.
Okay. So I know you had said that you had said something about like we should be saying that he's a legit artist or something like that.
No, I didn't say that.
Something like
He's
this.
a legit artist.
Oh,
Let's be real.
Queen was another one, right?
Queen was number 1. They sold 971,000. Fleetwood Mac was number 2. Elton John, number 4, and Creedence Clearwater Revival, number 5. So my whole point of this tweet is this is more evidence as to why you shouldn't be mad at Machine Gun Kelly for bringing rock music back to the mainstream. That's pretty good company to be in.
Okay, so what did you say this was again? Like what was the title of this?
The best-selling rock albums in 2021 in the United States.
Okay. Nothing against either of them, but why is CCR and Fleetwood Mac best-selling rock albums of 2021?
Couldn't tell you. The CCR, and I hate that you called them that, but I'll do it anyway. I think they released their 20 greatest hits, so that sold well.
Okay.
And, I don't know. Fleetwood Mac just sold a shit ton of records. 910,000 for Rumors, their album Rumors. And Queen.
Oh, they put out a new album?
Hit. I don't know. I'm not a Fleetwood. I don't think that's a new album. No, I don't believe so.
Huh.
We are completely stupid. Can you imagine that I'm Fleetwood Mac? No, that's not a new album. It can't be. Let me look. Why do you do this to me? I'm cutting this out of the show, by the way.
I'm not.
I'm doing it. Rumors came out in 1977, you fuck.
What the hell? Do they re-release it? Do they remaster it?
It doesn't say re-release, remastered. It just says Rumors. And then Queen was number 1. They almost sold 1 million records of their greatest hits.
Now that could have been because of the movie, right?
That movie came out in 2019.
Was it really was it 3 years ago? No way, really?
What's that movie called? Bohemian Rhapsody?
Are you sure? Yeah. Are you sure it wasn't like on the back end of 2020?
Even still, Bohemian Rhapsody movie. 2018.
No way. Damn.
2018.
Never mind.
So again, my point is all of the people who look, say what you want about Machine Gun Kelly, the way he looks, the way he dresses, whatever, who he dates, the shit he does in the public eye. I think it's a good thing that he had a rock record that sold that well and that was in the mainstream that much that it could sell that well. People want to say rock music is dead in the mainstream. Well, look, this is a good start for us to counter that argument and saying, no, it's not. And there were other people that put out shit that was really good, or again, people liked it and it was rock, he happened to be one of them. And like, clearly it sold well. And I think that's good. Now do a lot of pundits and purists of rock and roll and punk rock and whatever think it's good? No, they don't like him because he's him, because he came from a different world and whatever. But I, as someone who remembers a time when rock was in the mainstream and loved it, and I think it's good. And again, that's good company to be in. So I think you hate on him if you want, but you can't hate on him for the music. Clearly people fucking like it. You may not like it, but someone else likes it. Actually, right. 856,000 other people liked it enough to buy the fucking record. So I just think I think it goes to show. And again, the argument could be stated that, well, he was already a platinum selling artist before he made a rock record in another world. So it was easy to bring over a large portion of his fan base. Okay, yeah, that's a fair argument, but it doesn't change the fact that the the entire record that he put out was all rock music, and he sold.
Yeah.
So, and I think, look, if you're in a rock band and you want to sell records, take notes. That's all I'm saying. If that's your goal, is to sell records, take notes. Probably a good
I don't know.
person to.
You think he's the best person to look at to take notes from?
If you want to sell records and you want to be in the eyes of the mainstream, pretty decent place to start.
When was the you're gonna hate that I asked this question. When was the MGK and Eminem beef? Is that like 2018 probably too?
18, 19, yeah.
18, 19. Okay.
Well, it was right before the album. It was right before Hotel Diablo came out, and Hotel Diablo came out in 2019. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just thought it was not an interesting stat, a pretty cool stat, to be honest with you. Because, people always complain too, like, I don't know if we talked about it, but like the Grammys, the rock artists that were nominated for Grammys this year, it was like a lot of older bands. There were no new bands. And it's kind of insulting to a lot of these indie artists and a lot of these indie bands that are really like cutting their teeth through touring and like creating their own fan base and creating their own world, to not be recognized as having one of the best rock records last year by the Grammys. And a lot of those bands will say, I don't care about the Grammys. I'm with them. I don't care either. But it's insulting to not even, as much as I love Deftones, one of my favorite bands, they were nominated for Best Rock Album last year, I believe. Okay. As a fan, I'm like, okay, that I don't know if that's.
So what you're saying is now you agree with MGK on being mad for not being nominated?
No. What I'm saying, no. He went public with it, which I thought was dumb.
Okay.
It did make sense.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is the people who I'm talking about, significantly lesser known artists than MGK.
Okay.
That put out records last year that, all things considered, were really great records that should have been recognized. I'm talking about them. MGK, again, we're talking about a pop star who came out and was butthurt. Like, that's different. No, I still don't agree with that. But yeah, I mean, it's an old man's genre right now in the eyes of the mainstream, which is bizarre because there are a lot of really talented, hardworking, great bands out there. And again, this is all subjective, but there are a lot of really great bands out there making really good music. So it doesn't necessarily, and again, do those bands want to be in the mainstream? Do they want to stay independent? Do they want to stay sort of outside the mainstream? I don't know. There'd be a conversation to have with them, but I can't imagine.
That's kind of the symbol, right, of a lot of those indie bands, is to be indie.
Yeah, but would they like to sell 856,000 records? Right. I gotta imagine they would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I can't imagine they would be that upset about it. I don't know. I could be wrong. A couple things I wanted to bring up too before we get out of here. Did you see the stats? There was a stat that went out about LeBron. So like through the years, his stat line from age 17 to now, because he just turned 37 recently, right? So at the age of 17, he averaged 28 points, 9 boards, and 6 assists. At the age of 27, he averaged 27 points, 8 boards, 6 assists. At the age of 37, he's averaging 28.6 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. At 37. That's stupid freak shit, dude. That's not human.
I mean, this is like the Tom Brady story too, right?
How dare you?
Like, isn't he putting up like so many more numbers now than he has in the rest of his career? Last
year he was. This year, not so much. This year's numbers are down. Last year he was. Yeah, he's a freak. It's ridiculous. As much as I hate on him, he's a freak. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I couldn't believe that. He also spends $1 million to keep his body in shape and stuff. Have you heard that about that?
What
Like
does
all
that
of the
mean?
physical therapy and the all the stuff he does with his body, it costs him like $1 million a year.
Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Like, massages, chiropractic work, and like
Yeah,
anything
all
you
that
can
stuff.
do, like your body is what makes your career. You've got to, I'm sure NFL players are this, a lot of NFL players are the same way.
I don't know that they're spending $1 million a year though. That's
Well, I wonder what's covered by like different organizations and stuff. Like, I wonder if that's a lot of that stuff is covered by the organization versus them having to pay out of pocket for it.
yeah, yeah. That was the actually when you brought up the NFL, I'm like, well, how much of that is covered by the team, and then how much is LeBron paying out of pocket?
Mm-hmm.
The word is that he's spending $1 million of his own money. So like outside of the team training room and everything the team does for them. Which, by the way, I'm so glad. I'm so glad we're here. Do you watch enough NBA? I want to know if you watch enough NBA to answer this question. But how much NBA do you watch? Like right now, like
Not
this year, how much have you watched?
honestly,
Huh?
honestly, not that much.
Not that much.
Honestly, not that much. I doubt I can answer like a legit question, but I'll give it a crack
Do, I,
or give my best guess because that's normally what I do, anyways.
I think all of the nutritionists that work in the NBA should be fired immediately. Have you seen how big
Is
Zion Williamson is right now and how big Luka is right now?
But that's kind of on their own, right? Like that's their choice.
Why is there not a motivational person like a nutritionist or a trainer working with them day in and day out for them not to be fat? Those guys are way too young to just blow up like that. Zion's how old? 20 years old? Is he even 21 yet?
I don't think
Luka's
so.
like 22. Bro, you're 22 and your face is round. And you're a professional athlete. Like he has no muscle tone and he's getting bigger. Like if you Googled right now, Luka last year, Luka this year, and I love him. I stand behind my white dudes that can play because there aren't that many of us. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a fan, but dude, you need to diet, homie. You need to get. I take it back. Like, imagine if you didn't have that extra weight. Imagine if you were in shape. Like Luka gets hurt quite often. Zion is always hurt. Lose some weight.
Yeah.
Stop carrying around all that extra weight.
This is something we've talked about before with certain fighters and stuff like that. Now, I know it's a different thing because there's weight classes,
Yeah.
but it's still the same. Like, I see fighters and I'm like, come on. You're in a professional sport
Right.
and you're going to come into a fight looking like that. Like, come on. I don't, why would you not want to be in the best possible shape of your life for every fight that you do?
That's my point. And the UFC has people in place to help you with that. So I'm saying, so does the NBA. So it's just bizarre. And look, Zion and Luka don't have $1 million to spend a year on but they're young. They're early 20s. Like one thing else, and again, it just raised the question. Like I always see Luka and I'm like, dude, how fat are they going to let him get? There's another guy like Harden, round as fuck, Joel Embiid. Like he could be in way better shape. And that's another guy who's always hurt. But anyway, before we get out of here, we do need to talk about the story about the 16-year-old hockey player that died. Terrible, terrible, tragic story. But we need to, just say, thoughts and prayers, whatever. If you're a prayer person, positive vibes and energy to the kid's name is Teddy Ballkind. And I don't know if I'm saying that last name right. But he was a 16-year-old Connecticut high school hockey player. He died. He fell on the ice. One of the players on the other team couldn't stop. Skate blade went over his neck. He got cut, got rushed to the hospital, and then died while in surgery, I believe. So just unbelievably tragic story. So we need to, send my positive thoughts and vibes. If you're a prayer guy, do it. But just terrible to his family and his friends and everybody involved in that.
We talked about this before the show a little bit. I'm kind of surprised that doesn't happen more. Because one person, if you fall on the ice, anything can happen. Now I know you're wearing a lot of pads and all that kind of stuff, but still,
your neck is exposed. That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's always been the problem. There have been horrifically, there was the one the goalie that from the Penguins. This was the 80s or whatever. For the life of me, can't remember his name right now off the top of my head. But that's like the one major one that I can remember. I know it's happened before, and in various levels of hockey. But yeah, this is just 16 years old, just awful.
Yeah,
hate to end the show on a bummer note like that. But
I actually have a couple of things real quick to one we can roll over into the next show. But so you remember at the end of the last, I think the last episode, I had mentioned to Will Compton and his mom passing away and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he had just signed with the Raiders. Well, he got back home and then he made this big post on Instagram and social media the other day about how the Raiders released him. But it was like it was a big post about like, I love the organization. I love all the people. I love the coaches, this, that, and the other. Like it was a very, he doesn't regret any of the time that he spent there and this, that, and the other. Then a few hours later, he puts up another post that basically says, we're back. And he got re-signed in the same day. So in the first post, he had mentioned basically like things are really weird in the NFL right now because of when it comes to like salary caps and stuff. And you have all these guys that are on like COVID protocols and bringing new guys in and pushing older guys out and all that kind of stuff. So like he acted like he expected to kind of get released because guys are coming back off of COVID and basically losing his spot, I guess. So I don't know if more people went out on COVID and that's how he got re-signed again or something. I don't know, but hopefully he proves himself and he gets he's able to hold a spot with the team. But the other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if you've seen this or not, and we can roll this into the next episode, but did you see the lawsuit against New York in an NFL? There's a class action lawsuit going on in the NFL. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. A guy is suing the New York Jets and the New York Giants for basically false advertisement because they play in New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
And they're branded as New York, and it's a $2 billion class action lawsuit. And apparently class action means like everybody's involved. So like if you're a fan of the Jets and Giants in New York, you're involved in this.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're probably going to win.
Huh?
They're probably going to win. There's probably going to be a settlement somewhere. I bet.
No way. Not a chance. Let's save it for the next show then, because let me do a little bit of research because I heard about that, but I didn't read anything about it. So
yeah. Okay. We'll roll it into the next show.
Yeah. So again, not to end the show on a bummer, but that is just horribly tragic. I just feel so bad for that kid's family and his friends and just everyone involved. Like imagine being the kids on his team and the kids on the other team. Like, ugh.
I mean, I'm hoping it was an accident, right?
Yeah. It was a hockey accident. I mean, it's hockey, just the kid. And you're talking about kids too. So we're not talking about, we're not talking about what happens in the pros too. I don't even know why I'm trying to even make that justification. Yeah, it was an accident. So terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of weird, like, because hockey and MMA kind of go together as far as like, you can respect the other guy on the ice or you can respect the other guy in the cage, but I'm still going to, at some point during this, try to beat your face off.
Well,
kind of thing, where that went too far.
No.
Where somebody was mad at anybody else or anything like
that.
It was
total
accident. Yeah. Okay. Well, still, yeah. Thoughts and good vibes to that family and all that stuff. So
absolutely.
All right. Ready to get out of here?
Happy January 9th.